Hey girlfriends, it is Friday and I am so excited. This Friday in the studio we have a special guest, Cecy, and Cecy Almanza is here with a topic that's near and dear to her heart of friendship. And I'm really excited to dig into this today.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be good. So first, Cecy, let's start with, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from?
So, I'm Cecy, and I'm from Texas. I was born in Mexico, and then we moved to the U.S. when I was 9 years old. So I was in Texas most of my life, and I moved here to Indiana 9 years ago almost.
What brought you to Indiana?
My husband.
Okay.
Yeah, love.
Did you meet him in Texas or?
Yeah, I met him in Texas. He was in the military, and that's where he was stationed. So we met, got married, and then moved away.
Was it love at first sight?
Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was, yeah.
Okay, and then you moved here.
Yes, and it's been 9 years almost in August it's going to be, which is so crazy to think because, yeah.
And you probably never thought I'll be there 9 years. It was...
No.
Yeah.
No. Like, ever since I moved here, I kept looking back. When are we going to go back? Or asking him every winter.
Oh,
Can
yes.
we move?
Every time the snow starts coming, like,
yeah, but
it's
after,
time to go.
Yeah, after these 9 years, it's starting to finally feel like home.
Oh, that's good. And you have how many children?
So I have 4 kids.
Okay, under the age of...
So he's going to be 10 this summer, my oldest. Yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I still see him as a 3-year-old, but yeah, he's going to be 10.
Because 10 is like the double digits. Like,
yeah.
We're close
it gets
to
crazy after that. It's like real. Yeah, so I'm nervous about that. But yeah. So he's 10, and then I have a 7-year-old, or he's going to be 10, and then 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old. So,
2 boys and 2 girls.
2 boys and 2 girls, yeah.
And they are all so sweet.
Oh, thank you.
And I really mean that.
They're crazy, but they
maybe
have their moments.
Yeah, I don't see the crazy side of them.
Yeah, they say that your kids will be crazy with whichever parent they're more comfortable with. They're very comfortable with me, for sure. I've seen all their sides, so.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So let's talk about friendship.
Oh, friendship. Yeah. So, it's been actually very like a roller coaster for me.
Yeah.
Moving here, like I was telling you, moving here so long ago, I didn't know anybody here. So friends I didn't have any. It was like non-existent. And, getting busy with having all the kids back to back, I was super focused on that. And for the first, I would say 4 or 5 years, I would pray to God every day, Lord, if you could just send me one good friend.
Oh.
And it was around after the 4 years I started meeting people because I was finally moving out of the house,
Right. When the children are little, you're just stuck in their world inside.
I was just like hibernating in the house with all the kids.
Trying to survive.
Yes, survival mode, that's what I call it. So then after that I started meeting people and it still wasn't kind of happening. It was like just very... what do you call it? Superficial per se.
Yeah.
Or just you're talking to somebody, small talk, and nothing deeper than that.
Just a mutual friend.
Yeah, and like casual play dates, but nothing to where you could really say, this is my friend.
Yeah.
And I remember praying to God, it's actually like 2 years ago. I was just praying, Lord, what is it that I need to change? So it was always like, oh, can you send me a friend? Oh, this person wasn't, she's not doing this for me. Or,
sure.
They're just not filling in the boxes. And finally, it just hit a point where it was one night, late at night, I was like, Lord, what do I need to change? Can you please show me what I need to change so that these friendships can actually happen? Because
that's amazing to realize that about yourself too.
It took a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not easy to judge yourself, right?
Of course.
Or to make yourself as vulnerable as
exactly
you need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because growing up I only had my family.
Okay.
I have a ton of cousins and we always did everything together. We went through elementary and middle school and high school together and that was my group of people.
Sure.
So venturing out of that was
and then you're coming way up north and you lost all your friends and family. That's
hard. It was like a culture shock as well. It's so different up here. So I'll tell you what happened. After I prayed, I was actually looking into doing like a Bible study with a couple of mom friends.
Okay.
And this lady's name just came to my mind. I'd only spoken to her a couple of times at church, but for some reason I just felt like I needed to reach out to her. And I did, and we have become super close friends.
Wow.
Super close friends. And through this Bible study, there was it's called The Better Mom.
Okay.
And she spoke about friendship. And this is gonna... Okay, so imagine if you go to, like, Build-A-Bear, right?
Yes.
And you can build your bear however you want it, right?
Yeah.
She said, can you sit here and make a list of what you wish a friend would be?
Okay.
So I thought it would be cool, like, go to the store and buy a friend, right?
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Right.
So I made a list. She has you make a list, and I was like, oh, well, a good friend would be somebody who you can just pick up the phone and call her and she'll answer. Mm-hmm. Or drop off some coffee when you're having a bad day, bring you a meal. They're encouraging, they don't judge you, right? Like, what would you consider a good friend?
Same thing. Don't judge is huge.
Yeah.
And then pick up the phone and just pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
You know,
like, you don't have to work at it.
Yes.
Right?
Effortless, yes.
Well, then she asked this question. She goes, are you willing to be that friend for other people?
Wow.
And I was just like, what? Like, I have to do that?
Right.
I just want my friend to do that for me.
You're like, that was a lot. I put down too much on that list.
Yeah, and that is when, like, God really spoke to me in that way, because about that specific thing, because how much am I really doing for my friends? That was, like, my big conviction. Are you really putting in the work, and are you being there for your friends when they need you?
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, okay. I hear you.
Yes. Yeah, you're saying it loud and clear.
Yeah,
wow.
And, you have to look at yourself and say, am I really being that good friend? And the answer for me was no. It wasn't.
But not to a point where you didn't want to be a good friend.
Right,
You're just caught up in your children and everything else. Life is busy.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not like you're on purpose saying, I'm not going to be a good friend. It's just...
He revealed to me how selfish I am, right? And I was telling my friend the other day, sometimes I like to excuse that or justify my selfishness, because my selfishness comes from, like, I don't have time for my friend because I need to, like, be with my kids.
Sure.
And I'm just giving my everything to my kids. So am I really being selfish? But then God was like, no, your friends need you, and you need to prioritize that as much as you prioritize your children.
Wow.
You know? Who comes first, right? There's obviously...
Right.
You have to keep on track on that.
But basically, when the Holy Spirit's putting something on your mind to do it, and not just say, no, I got my children to worry about here.
And mentally, the impact that has on you, to prioritize that, and then you realize, man, I needed that as well.
Right.
Like, when you make time for your friends, it just changes your perspective, because you get to breathe for a moment.
Yes.
And to be yourself, right?
Yeah.
You get so, like, at least for me, I get so caught up on being a mom. Like, I'm just going to be a mom, and I'm setting all these rules, and I'm keeping the structure. And then it's like, who are you?
Yes.
Who were you before, and why were you so joyful and cheery before? And, just put it down for a moment and be a friend. I feel like we all need that.
Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah.
One thing I love too about I have some good friends that I'm really close to, and then I have a best friend, and we'll try to FaceTime at least like every other week, or I'll go over to her house and just sit there while her kids are just running around, and we'll have lunch together. But the one thing that I really love there is I just lost my thought. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, I know what it was. Okay. Wow. So when I get to go over and see her, it's laying down my burdens. And the Bible says, bear ye one another's burdens. And so I love getting to hear what's going on in her life, and what is she struggling with, or what does her family need prayer for. That's amazing. It really gets to take the focus off of me, because it's that selfish mentality again, where it's like, I have so many problems that...
Let me talk.
Right. And then it's like, no, wait a minute. The Bible tells us to bear ye one another's burdens. And there's just a sweetness that comes to that when you're taking your friends' burdens and prayers to the Lord too.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go fix it for them. Sometimes they just need you to listen.
Yes. Yeah, and I love that you brought that up too, because sometimes people just need you to sit with them.
Yeah.
Don't try to talk and fix the problem. Just say, man, life really hurts right now, and I'm
you know
sorry.
what? I struggle with that, just like the being still situation.
Yes.
I feel like I need to say something to you to comfort you.
Yeah.
And the Lord has really opened my eyes on that. Like, sometimes you just need to not say anything. And sometimes, like, that just has a huge impact on people when you can just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And listen without judgment.
Yes.
That's a true friend, where they're not going to sit there in judgment of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I never have a problem with that.
Yeah. And you know what? One thing that just came to my mind that I read this morning is you need to be able to speak your mind to your friend. Like, if your friend's going through an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have the word in your heart, right?
Yes.
And what you need to say, is this really what God would want you to do? And not to be afraid to tell your friend when they're wrong.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's a true friend.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I feel like so many times we're just like, oh, girl, you're in the right. Or you just want to, not risk offending them.
Right.
But would God do that?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's like the true friend that would say, no, you got pizza sauce on your face.
Exactly. Why would you let me walk around with that
right,
on my face?
Right. And that's really good to put it in a different perspective there. Of
I had my friend actually last week. She was like, oh, I don't want to say anything that's going to hurt you or that is going to affect our friendship. And I was like, oh, no, like, not at all. I want you to be honest. And she's like, I need to tell you that you're the one in the wrong in the situation. And I wasn't expecting that, but it felt so good to know that she cares so much about me and my relationship with my husband, per se, to say, I think you need to be the one to step back and take a breather and reanalyze the situation.
And I'll be honest with you, sometimes that hurts.
Yeah.
Because in my pride, how could you say that?
Like, girl, I want you to be on my side.
Right. And then after a day or two, when you think about it, it's happened to me before, I'll realize, no, they're right.
Yeah. And why would you want a friend that's only going to say what you want to hear?
Yeah, because they're not being honest. They're not being truthful.
Then it stays in that superficial kind of realm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. So I did want to also bring up, talking about friendship, gossip.
Oh,
the word gossip. So gossip is horrible.
Yeah, it is.
And it can really hurt a friendship.
Yes.
So if and it can make a friendship what you think stronger because you have this gossip going on about someone else.
And almost like that comfort, right? Being able to gossip with somebody.
Yeah, but nothing good ever comes from it.
No.
It doesn't. And it hurts so many people. Yeah. So I would just encourage anyone, if you have someone that's constantly willing to share gossip with you, evaluate that friendship.
Yeah.
Because I would say that's not a true friendship. Like, that is not a friendship from the Lord, or that's Christ honoring.
Exactly.
And that gossip is just...
It turns into this vicious cycle, because now that's all you want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, every time we get together, that's all we do. And it's toxic, and it's hard to get rid of.
Yes.
Yeah. I've experienced that, and I can honestly say that I've been the root of that.
Same.
Where, you just don't know how to act, because that's just what you've been used to, right? When you're with girls, it's just like gossipy. And it really, I would say in the last 2 years, really changed. Because a friend of mine said it to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she was like, can we not talk about other people? And I was like, what? And it hit me like, this is not nice. Even if you don't mean harm by it, just bringing up somebody else's name that's not in the room with a vicious, purpose, per se, or like a judging mentality about it. It's not right. It's not right. I'm so glad you brought that up, because
it's just been on my mind, because when you take your friendship and you take the gossip out of it, there's a different level of friendship there.
It's an amazing feeling to just talk about each other and be able to encourage each other and not worry about anybody else.
Yeah, and it's judging. You're sitting there in judgment of someone else. But I would say start to recognize that gossip and then see if it's the same person always saying it, and then maybe address it with that friend.
Yeah.
And if that friend is okay with the gossip, then it might be time to look for a true friendship somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And if they are a true friend, they'll appreciate it. Maybe not immediately, but they'll appreciate the fact that you pointed it out.
Exactly. And then it's just so liberating to, because you don't want to be that person.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, if you've been in a toxic cycle, you just know that it's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not the, we mentioned before we started the podcast too, the friendship where you walk away feeling so refreshed.
Yeah.
You know, like, I didn't realize what I needed, and you
How
just
much I
breathed
needed
so
it.
much life into me. That's a good friendship. That's what you want.
Yeah. You need to leave the room or leave that person feeling refreshed and not burdened.
Yeah.
Like, that was just so exhausting.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, if you're struggling having a friend, I love how Cecy opened up our podcast here and said, make sure you're being the true friend first.
Yeah.
I love that.
You have to be willing. Man, it took years to figure that one out. But God spoke very clear to me, and that has changed.
I love that.
Everything for me. Yeah, you have to be able to be vulnerable and say, it's like in marriage, right? Or any relationship, there's always two sides of the story, right? They always say, but there's always faults on both sides. I feel like, maybe we can react in different ways, and learning each other's personalities is so important as well. But you need to be able to be just vulnerable, and God will.
Yeah, and vulnerable is a good word, because the Bible says that you must show yourself friendly, right?
Yeah.
But that's not just that, they call it like the resting bitch face. It's not the, hey guys, I'm a friendly person, come talk to me. It's being vulnerable. It's willing to be deep with someone and be authentic with someone. I think that's so good.
Very important.
I love that.
Important. Yeah.
So Cecy, if we are struggling, needing a friend, or we just whatever, maybe we need some encouragement on friendship.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if our Girl Talk community reached out to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that would be so helpful for some people, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would love that, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always told my friends my house and my phone is always an open door policy. So I've always wanted to be like that open door, have that open door policy, right? Where people can just feel comfortable enough to come knocking on my door or pick up the phone and call me. I want to be that person for my friends. So yeah, absolutely.
And I will say, Cecy, that's one part I really like about you is that it's not, well, you can stop by tomorrow because I got to clean my house before you come.
Yeah, no.
I love that you're authentic to, come on, if there's toys, that's because I have kids, but please come.
I used
love
to
that.
be the opposite, but now I'm like, listen, if a friend's going to come to my house, then I'm here to see my house.
Right.
And I can't worry about that. No.
I love that, Cecy. That's perfect. So can we reach out to you on Facebook? Is that what you prefer?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll tag her down here in the podcast notes, but look up Cecy Almanza on Facebook. She's an incredible encouragement, just as a mom, but also as a friend and in your spiritual life also. So I would encourage you to follow her, and definitely any friendship talk to Cecy.
Yeah.
She has a heart for it.
I would love that. So.
Well, in closing, Cecy, we are going to ask you what we like to close out with all of our guests.
Okay.
If we had one sentence to broadcast to the entire world, what do you want to be known for saying? What would that one sentence be?
For me, I think things will get better.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. Whatever it is that you're going through, if you think you just cannot get out of it, I promise that things do get better.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
And if you're there, reach out to Cecy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because she'll be there to remind you that it does get better.
It does.
She'll help you see that light. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Cecy, thanks so much for coming on Girl Talk.
Thank you.
I know this is going to be a huge encouragement to so many.
I hope so.
I know it will. So thank you for your time. And to the Girl Talk community, we hope this helps your friendships and that you are strengthened after this podcast today in your friendships. We'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Hey, girlfriends, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast today. We are grateful to have you here.
We are Girlfriends Just Talking. We want to encourage women to live an intentional, powerful, positive, and spirit-filled life.
Come check us out over on Instagram and Facebook, where we have a community of women encouraging other women. We'll see you there.